The boy Who saved the king with a flute, a shocking African folk tale. The moonlight cast an eerie glow over the forest, illuminating the shadows where whispers of sorrow lingered. A group of villagers gathered, their faces etched with disbelief and regret. How could it have come to this? A woman gasped, clutching her chest as grief swept through her. He was a maestro, another villager lamented, their voice trembling. His melodies enchanted our hearts, but pride has a way of turning joy into despair. They stood frozen, haunted by the question that would torment them all. The flutist's melodies had once summoned the stars, creating dances of light in the night sky, but that evening, darkness reigned. As the villagers whispered among themselves, a gust of wind rustled the leaves, almost echoing the flutist's final notes, intertwining their fates forever. They found him hanging on a tree, the royal flute player, once the pride of the kingdom. His gift had once brought joy to the king, but now his pride had brought him death. How did this happen? Let me take you into the night when music, spirits, pride, and fate collided in a way no one will ever forget. The disturbance in the palace. The royal guard rushed to fulfill the king's command, their footsteps echoing in the silent hall. Moments later, a proud figure entered, the royal flute player, his breath quickening under the weight of the king's distress. "My king," he whispered, bowing deeply, "you called for me." The king's eyes flickered with a desperate hope as he gestured for the musician to begin, his heart heavy with unshakable dread. The flute player nodded, raising his instrument to his lips, the polished wood catching the dim light as he began to play a gentle melody that danced through the air. As the haunting notes flowed from the flute, the dark whispers began to fade, replaced by a sense of calm that enveloped the king. The melody wrapped around him like a warm embrace, lifting the weight upon his chest and igniting a flicker of hope for his troubled kingdom. After many days passed, the king was not himself once again. Every night he heard strange whispers. His chest felt heavy. Sleep ran away from him. The whole kingdom feared if the king became sick, what would happen to the land? Bring me the royal flute player. Only his song can drive away these shadows in my head. The pride of the flute player. the flute player continued to taunt the messengers, swirling the flute in his hands. "You dare to disturb me? I am the very breath of the king's happiness, and without my melodies, his nights will never be the same." He threw his head back, laughing louder, dismissing their urgency completely. But deep down, a shadow lingered. In that moment, the flute player's laughter echoed into the night, but he could not shake the feeling that the king's need might one day falter, leaving him alone. Perhaps, in his overconfidence, he had invited his own downfall. When the king's messengers insisted, the flute player laughed again and again. "Ha, the king cannot sleep without me. I am the life of his joy." Let him wait. He will always need me. The flute player thought himself untouchable. Pride filled his heart like poison. The unknown boy far away, a poor boy walked the streets with a simple flute he had carved from a reed. His family was hungry, his clothes torn, but his heart was pure. That night, his music reached the ears of the palace guards. Wait, this sound, it heals the heart. Bring him before the king at once. The boy entered the grand palace. With shaking hands, he lifted his little flute. And when he played, the whispers vanished, and the king's eyes filled with peace. Ah, the darkness is gone. Who is this child? From today, you are my little musician. The boy's heart swelled with joy as he nestled deeper into his newfound role. The king's gaze was warm, a stark contrast to the cold streets he once roamed. Each note he played resonated within the grand hall, weaving tales of hope that danced among the courtiers. They smiled, some even wiped away tears, as music filled the air like the sweetest nectar. "Tell me, dear boy," the king said, leaning closer, "what inspires your melodies?" The boy, cheeks flushed with excitement, he replied, "It is the song of my heart that longs to be heard, my majesty." The king nodded, enthralled by the idea of an artist with such simple yet profound wisdom. The king smiled thoughtfully, absorbing the boy's words. "Then let your heart guide you, for it is a treasure." The boy's melodies transformed the palace, bridging the gap between royalty and the common folk. From that day on, his flute became a symbol of hope and joy, reminding everyone that even the simplest of voices could rise to fill the world with light. The joy of the people with laughter ringing in the air. The boy glowed in his new attire, the golden fabric shimmering under the sunlight. A sudden drum roll echoed through the palace, signaling the beginning of a grand celebration. Around him, the nobles exchanged glances of admiration, whispering praises of the young savior who had captured the hearts of many. The boy's heart swelled with a sense of fulfillment and disbelief. With each passing moment, the jubilation grew, enveloping the palace like a warm embrace. The king, now full of life, raised his goblet high, toasting to the boy who had bridged the gap between rich and poor, ensuring unity for all. Their kingdom, once fractured, now stood as one. The palace erupted in cheers. The people danced. Nobles clapped. Commoners shouted, "The king is healed." The boy's family cried tears of joy. Gold clothes and honor were placed on him. A poor child became the savior of a kingdom. Look at him. From the streets to the king's side. The shame of the flute player. But far away, the royal flute player heard the news. Laughter filled the streets, but it was laughter at him. He refused the king. A little boy saved the kingdom. He could not sleep. His pride turned into shame. He walked to his backyard, his face pale. He tied a rope to a tree. And before dawn, he ended his life. In the morning, villagers found him hanging. Shock spread through the land. The once great flute player was gone, destroyed not by sickness or war but by his own pride. The sun rose slowly over the village, casting long shadows on the ground where the flute player had once graced them with music. Whispers of disbelief filled the air as friends and neighbors gathered, faces etched with sorrow and confusion. The children, unaware of the tragedy, still played in the streets, their laughter echoing hollow. A heavy silence replaced the joyous sounds, and the aroma of breakfast went unattended, overshadowed by the mourning that now blanketed the town. The king, too, felt the weight of loss, realizing too late the consequences of pride and folly. As the villagers huddled together, they recounted stories of the flute player's brilliance, his notes enchanting the air with magic. But beneath the weight of their grief, a seed of change began to sprout. The villagers, inspired by the boy's bravery, turned their sorrow into a resolve to honor the flute player's memory by never allowing pride to overshadow the spirit of their community again. In the days that followed, the village held a memorial for the flute player, celebrating not just his talent but the lesson learned. Together, they vowed to remember him for the joy he brought, and their laughter would echo not in mockery, but in unity and resilience. Reflection and moral. The tale of the kingdom spread far and wide, echoing the lessons learned. The once proud king, now a symbol of humility, became a beloved figure. People gathered around him, sharing stories of their struggles and triumphs, united under the banner of kindness and understanding. From the tallest towers to the humblest huts, the message rang clear: humility fosters strength, and together, they could overcome any challenge. In the end, the kingdom thrived, guided by the belief that true power lies not in pride or possession, but in the hearts of those willing to serve and uplift one another, ensuring that this wisdom would resonate for generations to come. From that day, the kingdom remembered, pride is a heavy chain, and he who wears it will fall. But humility is a light that lifts even the poorest child to greatness. As the ancient wisdom says, he who refuses to bend, breaks. And the Holy Book warns, pride goes before a fall. Remember the tale of the royal flute player. Be brave, be humble, and never let pride blind your heart.